If you're not sure whether trying to commercialize your art is for you or not, then hopefully the next few minutes of your life watching this will bring perhaps a bit of clarity, and if nothing else, will bring at least a little bit of connection and understanding, mutual understanding, because it's something I'm thinking about very deeply at the moment. I'm at a place where I've been trying to make money with my own creative practice for several years, and I have considered it my full-time job for, probably like 3 years now since I moved back to England. And to be honest, I'm at a point now where I'm really not sure if it is what I want to continue doing as my main effort to make money. Really, this journey started a long time ago, but the thing is now, like, I'm very mindful when I make videos like this as well, because I don't want it to come across as preachy. I don't want it to seem like I've got the answers, because I most certainly haven't. In fact, the whole catalyst for these videos was me acknowledging that I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't know where I'm going, and I appreciate that a lot of people feel the same way, you know. So for me, it's important to try and connect with people on that level. So like when I moved back from Canada to England, you know, I really had very little to my name, materially, financially, but even emotionally, spiritually, and physically, I wasn't in a very good shape either. You know, I was sleeping on a roll mat in my mum's spare room, and painting from the desk that I had in there. And over the last few years, I've really chose to upgrade my professional life instead of my personal life. So I'm still living in that room at my mum's house, but I've gone from strength to strength, quote unquote, in terms of my career as an artist. I moved into just a quick timeline, I moved into a small temporary space, and then a small permanent space at a local studios, and then from there I moved up into the biggest studio space there. And since then I've moved into this lovely unit here in an old cotton mill, and that's where I've been for like the last 8 or 9 months, I think, at this point. And at every stage, it seemed like the most appropriate thing for me to do was to keep upgrading in terms of size and to take, sort of bigger risks, and I wouldn't change it for anything. But the truth of the matter is, even though I have this lovely space, it's great, I feel so happy to have it, and I feel like it's a real achievement in and of itself. The space, even though I've upgraded it, it hasn't brought me any extra income, and it really hasn't brought me any extra peace of mind, and that's really important for me to acknowledge that, because I feel like when I look at people who seem to have it together or going on, or they seem to have achieved something that I desire, it's easy for me to forget that the material things that we acquire in our lives don't necessitate that we ourselves are successful on the inside, and that's certainly been my experience, as someone who struggles a lot, as I realise many creative people do. It's important for me to say out loud that upgrading the size of my studio has not helped at all with the internal growth that I've experienced. And so when I started to try and monetize my art, the joy that I experienced from painting slowly changed. And over the last few years, it has continued to change. And I don't think it's for the better. I think actually it's for the worse. Although, saying that, who knows what I'll think in a year. The thing about me is that I like to present myself authentically with my current state of mind. And I know that, I hope that other people will appreciate that. So, with monetizing anything comes a certain list of jobs that we have to just keep on top of, and that might be, you know, posting regularly, selling regularly, monetizing other aspects of that profession. And I'm under no illusions that art is any different. It's precisely the same, you know, as other jobs. You've got to market yourself, you've got to advertise yourself, you've got to get out there, otherwise you won't make any money from it. But I've found increasingly over the last few years that I'm losing a lot of that joy to the deadlines, and I'm losing a lot of the freedom of expression and that sense of play that I've always really cherished as a visual artist. It's been eaten away at by the focus that I've put on making money from my product, which unfortunately I have to call it a product now, because the painting I've been doing is meant to be sold. And yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm just not sure it's what I want to be doing anymore, and I realise a lot of other people are in that boat, which is why I'm making this video. You know, I'm really battling with this idea of, like, is every passion that we have supposed to be turned into some kind of profession or income generating machine? A lot of people would say yeah, and a lot of people would say no. And I think more people would say no, actually, but there is like a bit of a trend I've noticed lately where, you know, people can't just enjoy something for the sake of enjoying it. They feel like they need to turn it into a side hustle or, you know, whatever, something to make money. And yeah, it's a tricky one, because I feel like I'm at a place where I don't think that this passion of mine is what I should be doing with my energy to try and make money. And so that leaves me with a big gap now, because I need to figure out what else it is that I'm going to do to fill that hole. And it's really hard for me to say. I think on the one hand, you know, I have a lot of experience of many different types of work, and ironically, I found that the most satisfied and happy I've been overall in my life is when I've been doing a job that is totally unrelated to the arts. So it was working out on an island, on a vineyard, and of course you could say that was a bit of a dreamy time of my life, and with hope perhaps all being there. Not literally there on the island, but I mean at this dreamy moment in our life where everything seems to be going right. But there was something very nice about having that simple existence and just doing quite a humble and connected job to the earth. And it's something I'm really battling with at the moment. You know, whether I want to go back and do that and just keep this creative practice that I've developed as a passion project, you know, for myself. I think I'm at this point now where I really want to reclaim the joy in my art and in my writing. You know, I love writing as well. And in these videos, you know, and I'm at a point where I want to connect with people who are at the same place. And I think for the minute that means forgetting about money, or forgetting about trying to make money through my art. Because yeah, I can see really clearly now that anytime I'm trying to make money through my art explicitly, that it just goes wrong somehow, you know. It's not, people don't seem to even like the art as much, you know, which is kind of counterintuitive, but I guess it makes sense, you know. And the artworks of mine which people love the most are the really authentic ones. And it's not to say that they want to buy them, because oftentimes they don't, but then it makes me question whether, big picture, I make things for them to be sold, you know. And yeah, I really appreciate that a lot of people feel the same way. And again, yeah, as I've stated, I think more than anything, these videos, as they continue, are just going to be me trying to connect with other like-minded people. You know, providing value is like a bit of a buzz thing now on YouTube, a buzzword and a buzz idea about providing value. That isn't perhaps the most important thing for me at the moment. It's just to be authentic, to be real, to speak about where I'm at in my own journey, and hopefully, yeah, if I can reveal some things to people watching this because of the things that I've said, then that's really a great achievement for me, and to be able to help and perhaps be of service in a little way to other creatives who might be struggling with, you know, purpose and wondering whether they want to monetize the creative practice or not. And just to end on this, I think I have felt such a pressure to become this professional artist, you know, because it's always what I felt like I should be doing with my life. And I think that, unfortunately, with these shoulds and shouldn'ts, a lot of shame can be attached to those, you know, because it feels like a kind of moral obligation, and I feel a little bit like if I don't achieve that moral obligation that I've imposed on myself, and then I've in some way failed, and that's not a nice place to be either, which is why I'm taking this step back and reflecting, sharing a little bit, trying to connect with other people that are at the same place, and perhaps just make apparent that there is an alternative to all of this, you know, that just because I'm not making money from my art doesn't mean that I'm not an artist, which, again, maybe that sounds really obvious, but it's something that hasn't been that obvious to me all the time. So if you have got something from that, again, leave a comment, please. I really want to connect with people. I really want to start building community. I really want to try and explore this idea that desire and passion and growth doesn't have to be connected to money, financial gain, or even quote-unquote hard work. And I'm still very much figuring all this stuff out. So these are very much just open conversations that I'm having with you. So yeah, let me know. Thank you.